The main part of this video is on what they call chulpas, these towers, chimneys. I've mentioned these once before in all the time that I've been doing this channel. Not really had much to say about them, right? But after watching back my last video, I saw this artifact here, this end huge block, right? And you can see these square holes that run down it, and the line there and the bottom, as if this has been manufactured, which it has been. It's not been carved away from some rock somewhere. Now, I put this down to what I've said about rammed earth, rammed construction. Yeah, when it's say rammed earth, I'm not always just speaking about using dirt, but I knew that I'd seen something similar to this before, couldn't quite place it, and then I remembered Tambo, the huge wall at the top there. It's a large site, but these are the biggest blocks, and it's the end one here. But obviously for some reason in this block here, it's not solidified, mineralized in the same way. It's like falling out, but it is the same thing. Now the one in the middle is from Peru. The largest block on the lower section of the three-step wall, the end one, right? And you can see, which I'm pointing out, something inside this. At the end, I will leave two videos in a link that you can click on, where I actually show videos really close up of this stuff that obviously prove that these haven't been carved away. You can see that they have been manufactured. And by the way, we're certainly not talking about liquid stone here, right? It's no such thing, never has been. But it has been manufactured, right, from a mixture and then forced into something like forms, almost like what I'm showing here. So that's the main part of the video. I've got a few other bits and pieces that I'm just going to ram into this video, which are interesting. And I'm capable of understanding an argument against this, or how people wouldn't be able to understand how you would get certain shapes. But in this case, like what I'm showing here, you can see it's a rammed earth wall at the back, and you can see that it's, because of the framework that they've put it into, it's almost forming blocks. And the holes that you see are where the beams come through the wall, so you can force them together, yeah, so you can apply pressure downwards on the dirt to form the wall hard enough, right? But in this case, it almost looks like blocks. But let's say that you did leave the contraption together, right, which is what this looks like here, and over time it petrified or does whatever it did, because I'm telling you, most of these knobs are not what people think they are. And by the way, even the Sacsayhuaman walls are not as thick as what they seem to be. You know, when you look down on top of them, they're only about 1/8, right, the width. So how would you get that? Because these things would just fall down. That's why they're packed with dirt at the back. But I don't even think that they've always been like that, right? Because, well, that's obviously been done over time, hasn't it? So there was obviously something behind it in the first place. But even today, in modern times, we do build something like Sacsayhuaman, because I'm showing it right here. Oh yeah, by the way, I found this very interesting for you guys. If you look at the bottom corner block, you can almost see something that looks like a giant handprint. Because that's another thing, yeah, when I'm talking about formed walls, rammed earth down, I'm not like talking about just forming it all the way across. I'm talking about ramming lumps of it down the wall and packing that in bit by bit, right? And because you're doing it lump by lump, it's going to form polygonal shapes, isn't it? And over time, because you've done it bit by bit, it would separate even further, and over time it would look like a polygonal wall. Anyway, back with what we started with the strange shapes that I could explain at the beginning, and linking it to these towers or chimneys. Yeah, in Peru, Sillustani, these chulpas, and if you look at the blocks, if you look down the side of them, I have pointed this out once before, but I've never linked it to anything. Here's a close-up, right? Almost like some kind of bar ran around them, yeah, to keep them tied together, which really I would expect. Don't really know what they were, but why is there remnants of some kind of void in the middle of these blocks? And were they chipped out that way, or is it because something was inserted in there as this was being formed around them? Because when you look at this one here, well, it's actually the same one. If you look at the bottom, these square shapes, it's almost like this is also a formed wall, and you can actually see the shape of the banding, the form. You can actually see the shape of the banding, the form, structure of itself, yeah, where they were shaping it into the wall, which is a bit of a stretch, you know what I mean? But I mean, it's really how we would do it today. And if you look at the sides of these, because these blocks, they're not just square, oblong, right? They actually taper off at quite some angle as well, you know what I mean? They almost look paper thin here, and you can see the blocks on the floor. So how were these formed? Well, they're formed in the way that I've just said, because the tower, well, they're not all the same, like this one here with these what you would call megalithic blocks. Well, this is definitely rammed construction. Yeah, these are perfectly formed blocks, right, of all the same size, like a standard size, are they? No, these have been rammed in lump by lump and left to harden bit by bit into a form-like structure, right? So I'll leave you with a couple just to look at, all different ones. Thanks for sticking around, guys.